Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And it's starting to get a little chilly outside. I'm going to have to put my boots on, my Ugg boots, and a coat, and I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to vlog, and then watch my shows tonight, and just relax, and yeah. So, it's already starting to get dark outside. So I brought out the NightLight by Amy Dean book. I can't believe it's like 5:05 and it's already getting dark outside. Daylight savings time is really messing with me. So I brought the NightLight book by Amy Dean because this is the meditations for before you go to bed. And then I also brought two Melody Beatty books in case this meditation is not long enough for me to talk about. Let's get into this. And I haven't read from this meditation book. Well, I've read it in my personal life, but I haven't read it over here in quite a while. So let's get over here and let's just, let's just take a second, hold on a second, to get kind of like centered with the day, centered with the universe. Listen to all the sounds. Notice the things like one lone leaf falling to the ground. Somebody walking down the street. You know, it's interesting because I sit out here every day, and like yesterday it was 78, and today it's like 52, 53. And this tree out in front of our yard, I started noticing it when it first started turning red at the very top. And then I took a picture, and then I took a picture when it was like halfway down. Now most of the leaves at the top are gone. Here, I'll show you. Now most of the leaves at the top are gone. I don't know if you can see this. And the leaves at the bottom are red. And then the grass is covered with leaves. It's the changing of the seasons, and I live for it. I love it. I love just noticing the beauty of the seasons and the changing of the seasons and all of that. I do have to say I prefer the warmer seasons over the colder seasons. I like the fall and the winter for like reading a good book, cozying up in bed, having some hot coffee or hot tea and things like that, or hot cocoa. But I really enjoy going to the pool and being able to sit outside in shorts and a t-shirt, and just, I love the summer so much. So now that I feel a little bit, see, it's like center myself with the universe and notice like the small things and realize I'm just part of all of that. Like, it really helps me get balanced for the day, and I do that in the morning. And I just like listening to somebody, mow the lawn out there and all this kind of stuff. It's just, I can smell the leaves on the ground and the fresh earth. And just like noticing all of it, and appreciating all of it, even just like the smallest pieces. I love in the book and in the movie The Color Purple, where Shug says that she thinks that God gets pissed when we walk by the color purple and we don't notice it. I love that, because what that's about is really taking in every moment and noticing, the moss that's growing over there on the dried mulch, and the leaves falling, just like one lone leaf falling to the ground, and imagining that leaf had a life of its own on the tree, and seeing a little squirrel pop by, in the yard or whatever. It's all of that, and it's just realizing that we're just part of all of that, I love all that. Okay, so now that we're centered for the day, let's read this meditation from NightLight by Amy Dean, November 9th. Is it today the 9th? Yeah, today's the 9th. November 9th. I had the blues because I had no shoes, until upon the street I met a man who had no feet. Harold Abbott. A young man traveled to the city to apply for jobs, but first he wanted to buy new shoes to assure a good impression. He was so intent on getting to a shoe store that he nearly tripped over another man. This man had no legs and was sitting on a board with wheels, pushing his way along the sidewalk when the two had bumped. But the accident in no way slowed down the disabled man. He waved a cheery greeting to the young man and traveled on. How often are we so caught up in petty trifles that we don't notice others? The young man, so concerned with shoes and a future job, learned some people don't have to worry about shoes. What do we notice today? We think back to today's events. Can we remember little details about people, recall smiles and laughter, or recollect snatches of conversation? We can take time to notice more than our shoes. Sometimes I pay too much attention to my own issues. Help me notice other people and remember the time I spend with them. And I think this is a fantastic meditation. This is kind of what I was talking about when I started this meditation, of noticing just being observant about the world around us. Not that the world is about us, but that we are part of the world. That's why it's important to check in with friends and family, you know? I always think it's interesting when, you know, like I can remember like when my mom passed away, I had like so many people reaching out to me, you know, and people saying things to me like, I'm going to call you next week for lunch, or we're going to talk all the time. And like, cause you know, like in that immediate moment of grieving and losing somebody, it's like everybody just kind of surrounds you. And then you don't ever hear from them again. Some of those people I have not heard from, I mean, since the week of my mom's funeral, when we literally were spending like every day up to it planning it, you know, friends of my mom's and things like that. I'm not bitter about it. I could have reached out to them as well, right? But like in those moments of tragedy in our lives, or in those moments of huge celebration, positive or, you know, sadness, negative, whatever, but happiness, however you want to look at it, right? In those huge moments in our life, we reach out to people, we're talking to people all the time. Weddings, you know, is another time, not just funerals, but weddings. We're real excited about that, right? But then like a month goes by and you're not checking in with people anymore. It's like you have that one moment in time, and it was like such a moment that you were so excited to see those people. I think it's really important to keep checking in with everybody in your life, you know, to keep checking in with your friends and your family, you know. And I called a friend of mine last night, and I hadn't talked to like in a week and a half, and then I talked to last night. I just was like thinking about her, and I thought, we don't talk as often as we used to, and you know, and my initial thought was, well, she doesn't reach out to you either. And then I thought, you know what? Where does that start though? Like at some point, I have to take some responsibility and be like, just because she doesn't reach out to me, you know, doesn't mean that I can't reach out to her. I don't know what she's going through. I don't know that she isn't suffering, you know, like, I don't know, because I haven't checked in on her. And so I picked up the phone and I called her, and she was doing great, you know, and I was like, well, I just haven't heard from you lately. And she was like, I haven't heard from you either. And I even, you know, joked about that and whatever. And then I said to her, I said, well, the last time I talked to you, which was probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago. No, the last time I talked to her was like a week and a half ago. Before that, it had been like 3 weeks. And I said something to her. I said, like, the last 2 times I talked to you, you seemed kind of distant. Are you upset with me for some reason? She goes, no, not at all. I don't want you to think that. And I said, is something going on with you that I'm not aware of? And she kind of paused. And she said, there is something going on with me. And she said, and I haven't talked to a lot of people about it. She said, but, you know, it really means a lot to me that you checked in on me. And she started telling me what was going on. And I said, hey, listen, I'm here for you, you know? Call me if you need to vent. Call me if you need to just, like, get it off your chest. Like, I'm here for you, you know? And she said, well, I really appreciate that. She goes, because I've been kind of isolating, as, you know, from all of this. And I felt so bad for her in that moment. Like, I could have checked in with her, you know? I think that's kind of always my go-to is, well, I haven't heard from them either, right? Like, I think random acts of kindness can be just saying to your spouse, like, you seem a little off today, how was your day? Or you seem really happy today, did something happen at work today that's going on? You know, to just check in with our spouse, you know, our kids, our grandparents, our best friends, even, you know, friends of ours in recovery, if you're in recovery, or friends of ours in our regular life. You know, that's why I say every day in my vlog, make sure to check, to let somebody know how much they mean to you today. Just to randomly text somebody. You know, I did this a couple, I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago, and the response I got was so positive in return that I was like, I'm gonna start doing this every day. And then I did it for a couple days and I stopped, right? Because I just forgot about it. But what I did was, I'd gone to bed real early one morning, and I got up really early, and so I was like thinking of Tawny Jean, so I texted Tawny Jean and I said, hey, love you, hope that you have a great day today. She responded like immediately and was like, oh my god, that's so sweet, thank you, have a nice day too. My husband had just left for work. I texted him and said like, hey, I know that I already said this, but I hope you have a great day, and he kind of just like said LOL and like sent like a kissy emoji, you know. But I sent that off to a couple people, and every person was like really grateful, and they were like, oh wow, this is really nice to wake up to this, or this is a really nice message to wake up to. It takes very little, you know, for us. When I get messages like that from people, it just makes my day, especially when it's people that I haven't heard from in a while, you know? Like, just talking to this friend of mine last night who was somebody that I hadn't talked to, like, on a regular basis. I mean, we talked, like, a week and a half ago. We talked, like, a couple weeks ago, but, like, we're not talking as regularly as we used to. It was so nice talking to her and catching up with her, you know? And at the end of the conversation, she said, I'm so glad that you checked in on me. And she goes, because I feel so much better after this conversation. And I talked about some of my stuff too. And she was like, I said, and I do too. And I said, we got to really start talking a little bit more. But this is the thing. I find myself so much in life making plans of like, let's go have dinner, let's go have coffee, let's go do this, let's talk more on the phone, and then no follow through. But I can't blame other people for that. That follow through has to start with me. I have to be responsible for starting that. I have to be the one to pick up the phone. For years, my mother never did anything socially because she didn't want to be a burden to other people, you know? And I kind of feel that way sometimes, you know, with not driving today. I kind of feel like sometimes maybe I'm a burden to other people. But, you know, then when I do reach out to people, people are so happy to hear from me. And when I do things with people, we have such a good time that I got to get that tape in my head. I got to erase that tape in my head, you know, because then when my mom started doing social things and people loved to be around my mom, you know, they thought she was so fun and so cool, that she realized that she wasn't a burden to people. And so we got to get rid of that, and we got to start reaching out to people and asking people if they want to do things, you know, even if we have to ask them 4 and 5 times in a row, you know, and just putting ourselves out there. That's one thing I've had to learn in my life, is that I have to put myself out there. I have to be responsible for my own happiness. So anyway, that was a great meditation today, but make sure that you check in with at least one person today, maybe one person that you haven't talked to in a while, and just check in with them and ask them if they're doing okay. Anyway, are you guys doing okay? How you doing? I can promise you this. If you're not doing okay today and you're struggling, you're going to be okay. The sun will shine again, and better times are on their way, I promise you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.